What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be going over my team selection for the upcoming Double Game Week 25. So yes, that time is upon us. The double game weeks, the blank game weeks are fastly approaching, and now's where the real clutch part of the season does occur. Now in this video, I'll give you guys a quick rundown of how Game Week 24 actually went. When I made my transfer plan on Monday, we still had that Chelsea vs Crystal Palace game. So I'll go over a very quick review and show you where the overall rank is currently sitting. Then I'll be jumping into all that goodness of Double Game Week 25. A -4 hit is definitely on the cards, might rise to a -8 by that Game Week 25 deadline. And I'll be showing you guys the final team selection at the end of this video. So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So let's go over a quick review of Game Week 24. As mentioned in the introduction, when I made my transfer plan, there was still one game to come up, and that was going to be the Chelsea vs Crystal Palace one, which saw a rank rise from 48k to 47k. It's not the biggest green arrow in the world, but just shows you how high Cole Palmer's ownership is at the current moment, as he went and scored a 10-pointer. So yes, thanks to Cole Palmer's 10 points, we ended on 85 with a game week rank of about 650k, and our overall points are currently sitting at 1,487. So nice to be within that top 50k mark at this stage of the season, just before the doubles and the blanks kick in, the chip strategy kicks in, just hoping this can kind of fuel the fire and push us on the top 10k finish. Now in terms of Double Game Week 25, I got one free transfer and 3.8 million left in the bank, so a little bit of an upgrade can be made if you want to do it. Let's just go back to Cole Palmer there with his 10-pointer. If you guys watch this game, you'll know what an emotional roller coaster. A blank up until the 90th minute, then gets 2 assists in stoppage time, and also racks up bonus points. So I guess if you did bench Cole Palmer, it would have been an absolute disaster of an end to the game. But like myself, even though his effective ownership was quite high, any points help. It's a very nice kind of 10-pointer there to add to the haul, 15 points off the 100 club. Now those 15 points could have been helped by the fact that I benched Saliba, so those 12 points could have come in clutch if we needed them, but unfortunately he's going to be sitting second on my bench. Other than him though, Areola with 0 points after conceding 6 goals to Arsenal, Garnacho with the 2-pointer, and Lascelles with the 0-pointer, but he was back in the squad for Newcastle. So I'll come back to Saliba when you talk about our defense. At the moment, Dubravka between the sticks with only 1 point, at least outperforming Areola, but that Newcastle defense is simply terrible at the moment. So both our goalkeepers not really performing that well, but at least not many clean sheets were had in Game Week 24. It was basically only Arsenal. So as you guys can see, Gabriel, I did at least start him for his 12-pointer, but his colleague Saliba was benched for Pedro Porro and Trent. Let's start off with Trent, a little bit unlucky there. Actually brought him in for Game Week 24, so yes, I brought him in and now he's injured. He got subbed at half-time after racking up an assist. But at least it was 4 points better than Pedro Porro's 2-pointer after he lost the clean sheet to a Brighton penalty. Now I do think that kind of clean sheet loss against Brighton might have been a little bit unlucky. I mean, they did win 2-1 at the end of the day, only conceding a penalty. So 6 points for Pedro Porro would have been a lot better than the 2-pointer. But I guess it is how it is. I just thought West Ham might kind of pitch up to this game. It was a home fixture for them, and I did favor Pedro Porro maybe from an attacking point of view. So not too much regret, but obviously it would have been nice. Our midfield department also started off a bit slow. Richarlison with the 2-pointer wasn't involved in either of the 2 Spurs goals, but still a pretty good performance. The Saka performance though was one for the game week, a massive 15-pointer, a lot of doubters over the previous game weeks. After not getting that assist, he's kind of racked up a few points, and a double-digit return you always love to see. Then Phil Foden had a pretty quiet game, only the 3-point appearance, 1 extra clean sheet point, after Erling Haaland got a brace. So midfield department is a little bit hit or miss, Richarlison, Foden disappointing, but Cole Palmer and Saka clutching up, and at least our forward department also didn't look too bad. So if you guys watched my deadline stream, it was a massive kind of dilemma who to sell, Ollie Watkins or Dom Solanke. Well, in Game Week 24, Dom Solanke has the narrow lead after getting an assist in that game. Now the biggest disappointment though was the fact that he racked up so much XG in this game. I think he missed about 1 or 2 big chances against Fulham, which I would have loved for him to convert. But as mentioned, slight lead over Watkins, so let's see what happens in Double Game Week 25. But I'll be hiding behind the couch for that Aston Villa game. So talking about Ollie Watkins, the player I brought in for him was going to be Darwin Núñez, the 6-pointer, got a goal but also a yellow card, classic Darwin Núñez. Let's just say a very electric player to own in FPL. But obviously brought him in for the double game week coming up. Liverpool have Brentford as well as Luton. Fingers crossed he starts both games. Then on the last option, our captain Erling Haaland, the perma captain, is unfortunately back, whether you guys like it or not. A brace against Everton, racking up 13 points, double to 26. One of the best performances of Game Week 24. So if you guys did good differential, might be a little bit unlucky. Darwin Jota not really performing to the Haaland standard. But as I said, the perma captain is unfortunately back. But a pretty strong performance from our starting 11, 85 points isn't too shabby. Rising to about the 50k mark is always good. And let's see if we can continue this trend. Now in the comments down below, after that Palace vs Chelsea game, where are you guys sitting in the overall ranks? Was it a strong green like myself, a massive green if you guys got 100 points? Or I have seen some pretty low scores that I think that you guys can rebound from in Double Game Week 25. But as always, love to see where you guys are in the overall ranks, and let's see if we can improve that over the upcoming game weeks. Now the next talking point I want to go over is a little bit different to how we usually do this. I'm going to go over my transfer plan next. I just want to give you guys the context and the background of my starting 11, as there are a few talking points I want to address. So as mentioned, one free transfer and 3.8 million left in the bank, so as we go along, maybe you guys can predict what moves I'm going to be making. As mentioned, a -4 is probably likely. I'm going to start off on my bench because this week the bench might change quite a bit depending on the transfers. Areola though against Nottingham Forest, I might start him. I'm actually going to bring Dubravka up on the screen because between these two, it's quite close. And what might edge it is the fact that I do own Dom Solanke, so I do hope he actually scores and maybe Newcastle concede. So let's see where I am come the deadline. I might just play the odds here and hope that Newcastle either keep a clean sheet or Dom Solanke scores a goal, as I can't really trust that West Ham defense after conceding 6 goals. Then I got Cole Palmer against Man City. If I do keep Cole Palmer, no complaints there of benching him. Man City's a tough game, especially away from home. And even though lots of players have been scoring against their former teams, this might be a little bit of a stretch. Then next up is Pedro Porro, who today we have had news that he's not in training as of today. Seems like he has picked up a little bit of a muscular strain that is being assessed. So he's there for a doubt for this Wolves at home fixture. Now this might be a deal breaker for a lot of you. Seen Pedro Porro in a lot of starting 11s since Trent got injured. So if that's your case, you might have to take another hit. But just remember that he might be fine. Just wait for Ange's kind of press conference. He's usually quite transparent. As if you need to pay Pedro Porro, Wolves at home is a good fixture. Then finally, Lascelles against Bournemouth. Don't really expect him to get in the starting 11, even though their defense hasn't been great. I think that Lascelles has unfortunately lost his spot, and Botman and Shaw is probably the preferred duo. So if Pedro Porro is going to be injured, our bench is looking a little bit thin. But just remember, I'm looking to make my transfers still, so we might have some variation here. Now I already spoke about Dubravka. As mentioned, don't be surprised if I do switch my goalkeeper. Just depends if I want to go aggressive or kind of defensive, but let's be real, probably none of these teams are keeping clean sheets, so it might be just the save points. Now the biggest talking point about Double Game Week 25 is probably the injury to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and if you guys don't know, he's confirmed out for Double Game Week 25 and is going to miss the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea next weekend. So yes, I brought Trent in Game Week 24 last game week and now he's injured. I'm really sorry if I cursed him for you guys, but all you have to know is that you have to have a replacement. Now Pedro Porro was obviously the natural replacement here. I could just sub the Spurs fullback into my starting 11, but if he is going to be doubtful, I'm forced to make a transfer, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. At least we have the double up of Gabriel and Saliba ready. See a lot of managers kind of considering going for both these two defenders, and they've been mainstays in my starting 11 for quite a while. So Burnley away is a great game on the cards. I mean, the XG off corners and set pieces that Burnley have conceded is all over Twitter. So maybe Gabriel and Saliba can do a repeat of Game Week 24. But it's a great game on the cards. Really happy to own both of them, as I said already. So let's see what Game Week 25 holds. Now midfield department, going to start off with Richarlison against Wolves at home. Unfortunately, Wolves have had a few injuries at the moment, and Spurs are always quite an attacking side. So I'm not actually too afraid of playing Richarlison in this game. I could move him on for someone like a Jota, but just remember that might be a -4 this week, a -4 next week, as both Spurs and Liverpool do blank next week. But if I do have to play him against Wolves, this is a fine game on the cards, and actually Richarlison might be an underrated asset this game week. Then talking about underrated, the next option, Garnacho against Luton away. Unfortunately, if I do make a transfer, Garnacho is probably on the bench. I was really hoping to see him wipe out that Luton clean sheet. So yes, United seem to have rebounded a little bit in terms of their attack, and Garnacho is a mainstay in that starting 11. So while I would like to have him on my team, unfortunately, probably gonna have to bench boost if I want to see the points. But if you guys have to play him, I think he's a fine option, even at that cheap price tag. Then I'll also triple up with Saka against Burnley away. Just a great game on the cards. I'm definitely going to be keeping him. And no complaints over the points over the last few game weeks. Then I lost midfielder Phil Foden, our first fully fit kind of double game week player. Not much more needs to be said about the Man City midfielder. Just great form at the current moment, even scoring in other competitions. Finally, he's actually getting some game time. So I might be looking to add to my Man City attack, but currently Phil Foden's going to be in the midfield department. Strong hopes for double game week 25. Then the last department of forwards, going to start off with Dom Solanke against Newcastle away. This is a good game on the cards if you guys have looked at defensive form, but Newcastle have to kind of switch it up one of these game weeks. So let's hope this game week isn't it, and Dom Solanke gets a massive amount of points, because it's basically him versus Watkins against Fulham. Then the last two options, finally the double gaming players are coming, I promise. It's Darwin Núñez, Brentford away, Luton at home. I believe he should get the majority of minutes in these fixtures, even though Salah might be back for the next one. So let's see if that transfer of Ollie Watkins out for Darwin does pay off, but I do have faith in the Uruguayan. Now, last option doesn't only carry the armband, he carries the triple armband. It's me, Erling Haaland, with the triple captaincy. So yes, if you guys watched my trip strategy video, I was quite kind of an advocate for the triple captain in game week 25, and I'm really sticking to my guns, even though there might be some speculation about Haaland. Nothing much that you guys have to worry about. I do believe he should be fine for both games, and just the best FPL asset to captain and use the triple captain chip. So yes, you guys might want to go for Dom Solanke in game week 28, might want to go for game week 34, game week 37, but I'm playing what's in front of us, and what's in front of us is a potential massive haul. So comment down below, are you guys using the triple captain in double game week 25? If it's not on Erling Haaland, who is it going to be on? And is anyone actually going differential? But that's going to kind of conclude the context / the background check of my starting 11. As you guys can see, there might be a defensive switch if Trent is out and Pedro Porro is out. I'm not confident of Lachelle starting, and we might look to use the extra funds in the bank to get another Man City midfielder. But you guys can do your predictions of what transfer I should make, or your suggestions of what transfer you would do, and would your transfers end at a -4, or would it extend to a -8 or even a -12? So let's go on to that transfer plan, and as mentioned, one free transfer and 3.8 million left in the bank. The first question I want to address is going to be probably the biggest one. It's what to do with Trent Alexander-Arnold. So as mentioned, definitely out for game week 25. Yes, he might make a miraculous recovery, but even if he does, then they'll keep him for the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea. So I think it's safe to assume 0 points in the next 2. Now with Trent, there's a bunch of options. Obviously team dependent. If you guys want to go for a Man City asset, Liverpool asset, that's 100% fine. Or you can find some cheaper funds to get someone like a Kevin De Bruyne in your midfield department. So I'll be going over a few options and what they mean for my own team. The first one is going to be kind of a like-for-like switch for Virgil van Dijk. Probably the most sensible transfer, to be honest. Now when I say sensible, you guys have to break down the maths here. For my own team, it's basically a -4 hit. I'm taking out Trent for Van Dijk with one of my non-free transfers. So therefore Van Dijk has to get those 4 points. Then what happens in game week 26, probably going to take him out yet again. That could be for another hit or another free transfer. So you might be at a -8 anyways. My kind of thinking with going for this move is the fact that I would probably take out Trent anyways if he was fit next week from -4. So at least I got those extra 2 points in game week 24. So because I was taking Trent out, I'm kind of thinking about going for Van Dijk this week. I think definitely some upside there in terms of the double game week. But if Robertson or Bradley was to start both games, I think they might be the better assets. Just think at the current moment, there might be some rotation. Bradley coming back from personal reasons, Robert coming back from an injury, and therefore Van Dijk's the most sensible. I just keep on going back to the fact that do I see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet against Brentford or Luton? Maybe the Luton game at home could be the one, but Brentford have been attacking pretty well at the moment. I think Van Dijk might have to get a bullet header to actually make this worth the hit, but part of me wants to just do it for the double game week. Now there's another double game week play that you guys might also want to go for, and that's going to be Doty from Luton. Not as exciting as Van Dijk, but he does have some attacking potential. Now the only downer here is United and Liverpool in double game week 25. Those fixtures are definitely not great. But the thing about Doty is the double game week 28 fixtures, and the fact that I'd probably want to get him in anyways before that. Luton also have a chance of having a blank game week 29 fixture, and therefore I'm kind of locking in a transfer now that I might want to do in the future anyways. So even though the points potential might not be as high with Van Dijk, it's the fact that I'm now bringing in a player I want in the future anyways, and therefore saving myself an extra transfer. So what I have to decide now is, do I think that Van Dijk is worth the extra transfer for game week 25? Because if I want Doty in the future anyways and I don't have transfers, it might be worth doing it this game week. Now there is another transfer plan that I was potentially looking at, and that's going to be next week. What would I do if I brought in a Van Dijk, or what would I have done if I had Trent anyways? My answer to that would probably be I would have gone for an Aston Villa defender. So Pau Torres was almost locked in next game week if I saw that he was fit, and that's the big question mark. With all those defensive injuries, is Pau Torres actually fit at the current moment? So it might be a risk actually going from this game week. I might want to get an extra game of information. Just remember in game week 24, he played 0 minutes, and therefore is he actually be fine for 2 game weeks in a row? Now I could also go for an Alex Moreno. Obviously Digne might be back from injury fairly shortly, or Matty Cash, who might be more locked in at that fullback position. So all the question marks might be there, to be honest, and that's why I don't feel comfortable going for an Aston Villa defender this game week, as I'd probably want Pau Torres anyways. So that's why I'm kind of considering going for a Doherty or Van Dijk this game week. Is just the fact that if I want to go for a blank game week 26 defender, there's not many of them at the moment. I guess there might be Reguilon if I want to go for someone differential. But I think Van Dijk might be the most likely transfer if I do want to go Liverpool. I just wish that maybe Klopp says Robbo's going to play both games in the press conference on Friday. So the Trent out move does look quite likely, especially if Pedro Porro is going to be missing. And what that allows us to do is make another midfielder switch. So if you guys watch my transfer plan, you'll know that I was all over Kevin De Bruyne as a transfer in. I just believe with that blank game week 26 fixture against Bournemouth away, he's definitely worth bringing in over Liverpool attacker. Now if you guys have looked at the fixture schedule for Man City, there might be a heavy chance that De Bruyne plays the majority of minutes, as they do have a couple of League Cup and Champions League games where he can be rested. If you have watched Man City at the moment, you'll know that Kevin De Bruyne is a main asset just in great form at the current moment, and that's why I think he's integral to the starting 11. Now in the transfer plan I discussed moving Richarlison out for De Bruyne with the extra funds. That was assuming that Trent might be fit, but now with the downgrade of Trent, I can do Cole Palmer out instead. So no, I'm not saying that Cole Palmer is a terrible option, I just think I would rather take him out versus Richarlison, and that's why this move makes more sense in my mind. So if I do go Trent to Virgil, I can still afford De Bruyne in for Cole Palmer, and those are probably the 2 most likely moves this game week. Now I just want to go back to the decision of going for Richarlison versus Cole Palmer because you guys might be in the same kind of mindset. The reason I'd rather take out the Chelsea midfielder is the fact that he has Man City versus Wolves. Just think Spurs have the much better fixture, and just remember, Spurs are confirmed to play in blank game week 29. So yes, this might be planning for the future too much, maybe Richarlison gets injured or dropped or that sort of thing, but I'd rather just maybe keep him for blank game week 29 in case he's fit. So that's why for me, Cole Palmer is definitely the transfer out if I was to choose between them, and I hope you guys agree with my logic. So that's kind of the first transfer plan there, going for Van Dijk or maybe a Doherty, and then obviously doing the Cole Palmer to De Bruyne upgrade. But there's another transfer plan that includes getting some more double game week players. So the first transfer would be Trent out, and it's going to be from Man City defender now, and that's going to be Nathan Ake after all this injury news. So Guardiola is going to be injured for about 3 weeks apparently, and therefore Nathan Ake is one of the last remaining left-sided defenders. So that could be a massive advantage. It means that he could play the majority of minutes, but as always, Pep Roulette might come in clutch, and there's always rotation within the Man City defense. What this transfer allows me to do is complete my Man City triple up, going for Phil Foden and Haaland and now Nathan Ake, and the fixtures on paper aren't too bad. Now the biggest thing that this allows me to do is therefore go for a Liverpool midfielder, and that would be the Cole Palmer upgrade to Diego Jota. Now the only concern here is the fact that I would probably keep Nathan Ake for the game week 26 as well, and then I have to take Diego Jota out for another -4. But I was going to do that anyway, to take Van Dijk out to upgrade to Ollie Watkins. So now it's basically, instead of going for a defender, it's going for a midfielder. Now I think the midfielders are a little bit scarce. I could go for Douglas Luiz if I want to go there for Aston Villa. A Jared Bowen, that sort of thing could also be on the cards, but I guess I can make the decision next game week. So you guys do follow me over on Twitter, you'll know that I made a poll about this. I said, which kind of 2 do you prefer, Kevin De Bruyne plus Van Dijk, or do you prefer Ake plus Diego Jota? So I'm going to extend that to the comments down below. Vote on which you guys think. I think personally I do favor the first combination. Kevin De Bruyne and Van Dijk just sounds better than Ake and Jota. I think Jota might bang this game week, but I think KDB might as well. And I'd rather make a defensive transfer next week than a midfielder one. But you guys might not agree with me. I think currently it's about 60-40 split over on that Twitter poll. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. While you guys are there, also let me know what transfers you guys are planning, any dilemmas that you guys want me to address. I might only address them after the press conferences tomorrow to give you guys the most up-to-date news. Otherwise, you can ask them in my deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline coming up on Saturday. But this is basically going to wrap the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hopefully I see you guys in the deadline stream coming up on Saturday, but I might actually make the transfers tonight. But for the time being, I'm signing off. Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.